Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I don't know whether you've heard of it, but there's this small little game coming out in the near future. It's called Metroid Dread, I think. Now, that's probably not news, certainly if you're a long-time fan of the channel. We've talked about it before, we will talk about it again in the future, but right now, we're also gonna talk about it. Why now? Well, to be honest, just because I'm really struggling to contain my excitement for it anymore. Like, this game is such a big deal to me, and I'm sure to a lot of many of you out there, so let's gush together. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling, let's dive right into things. So recently I had some time off. I took a week and a day essentially off work, you know, time for rest and recuperation and things like that. Had some videos scheduled, and Xeon was off as well, so John did an awful lot of legwork. But during that time, Nintendo released a new trailer for Metroid Dread, and I think they called it catchily Trailer 2. I was already massively excited about Metroid Dread, and just any little bit of information, I was gonna lap it up. And then this trailer dropped, and there was, by no means was it like, here's all the information, but my god, did it drip feed so many little interesting little twiddly bits that it just, all over again, I just became so incredibly excited, and I was sat there in a campsite going, there's a new Metroid Dread trailer, and like, two of my friends, well, Sasha knew what I was talking about, a couple of my other friends knew, a lot of them just looked at me, as they often do, with fear and confusion. Just to name a few things that the trailer featured, I've got a list here because otherwise I'll forget. It included the speed booster, which I'm pretty sure we've seen before, but also the shine spark, which I'm not entirely certain we saw that before. The grapple beam, yeah, pretty cool. Screw attack, nice to see that's back. It's an old favorite of mine. Some sort of multi-homing missile thing, that was really cool. That, as far as I'm aware, that's brand new. I don't remember that from any previous Metroid game. We also got to see Kraid, which okay, Kraid's a bit of an odd one. He's kind of like Ridley in some regards, in the sense that he's kind of like, he's a nondescript, high-ranking space pirate. You don't know what species he is. Is he a space pirate? Are space pirates one species and they have all sorts of funny, weird sort of genetic things happen to them and they don't mind and they'll just go along with anything, but they're all from one same core species, or are they several species? We don't know. But Kraid's like Ridley. He's appeared in more than one game, by the fact that I mean that eventually, when Metroid Dread comes out, he'll have been in 3 games, at least 3 games properly. He was in the original Metroid. He looked nothing like he does now. He was in Super Metroid. He looked like he does now, and now he's gonna be in this, and he's all chained up for some reason and everything. Why have they chained up Kraid? I can only assume, as I always do, that it's the Galactic Federation sticking their nose in somewhere where they really bloody shouldn't. I don't know, it's just, you know, we see Ridley come back pretty much every single time. It's almost not special anymore, but to see Kraid, that's a big bloomin' deal. And the fact that they didn't have some sort of big announcement saying, Kraid returns and showing bits and bobs, it's just, hey, here's a trailer, here's a couple of, like, 2-second shots of him. Best way to market. You're not shoving it in people's faces, you're not spelling things out for them, you're seeing it, the fans are gonna look at it and you're gonna go. We also saw a new dash move, and it looks like you can dash in any direction. This is very similar to the dash in so many other Metroidvanias, and frankly, it's ludicrous that it hasn't been in a Metroid game yet. To anyone who's played Hollow Knight and other Metroid games and things like that, all I can say is, this is exciting. I adore the Metroid series. I love it to death. I've been playing it since, God knows, it was one of, like, Metroid 2 was one of the first video games that I ever personally just completely myself owned. I got it with a Game Boy, and it was a big deal. I loved it. It confused the hell out of me, but I loved it. But pretty much every single Metroid game, except for, I suppose, maybe Other M, and I suppose to a lesser degree Samus Returns, has had really quite rigid movement, and that's fine, you know, that's played into that. The games are designed around that sort of semi-rigid movement, and it's been sort of, you know, we've seen in previous trailers and stuff like that, like Samus has a slide and stuff like that. She's looking a lot more agile than she ever has done before, and now we get a dash move, and it's mid-air, and you can do it, and they do it like forward and backwards, like woof, woof, like quick like that, and you can do it. Movement for me is one of the most important parts of a game. It doesn't necessarily make or break a game, but if you give me a game with really, really good movement, I am gonna probably absolutely adore it. And if you give me a game and it can be fantastic and be wonderful, if the movement's stiff, I'm I'm gonna notice. I'm still gonna be able to enjoy a game without really good movement, but really good movement, it's like, how to describe it. If you've ever eaten a bag of tiny sweets, like we used to get these things called Millions, I think they still exist, but nobody eats them. You'd have a great big bag of them, and you'd eat the whole things, and you'd be going through, and it'd take you ages to eat the whole bag because you were a child and you were small, and you'd eat the whole thing, and it would be wonderful and sweet and ruin your teeth. And then you'd think, well, it's at the end. That's the last. It's all there is. But then you notice that the paper has folded a little bit, and there's millions. There's a little like reservoir of millions running down, and you open it up properly and there's more millions. That's what it's like. I could have said icing on the cake. I prefer my analogy. Pocket millions. Metroid has done so much with so many different beams and items, and I suppose in some regards certain movement options with things like the spider ball and things like that. But this is one of the sort of like a real agility is one of the last areas that they really haven't tapped. Well, there's probably others as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one game. But even so, it's one area where I think that the Metroid series is going to really flourish more than it ever has done before. Can you tell I'm excited? I know I must have mentioned it. But then let's get down to the really exciting bit. So the lore. The lore of Metroid is rich, dense. We've got a video all about it. Arguably a very abridged version of the lore of and the entire story of the Metroid series, because oh my god, we had to trim some stuff down. Oh, that M. And it's fairly clear to ascertain that in Dread, one of the things that's going on is that there's some sort of evil chozo, or some sort of surviving chozo, that isn't mad keen on Samus for one reason or another. We don't know exactly why. Maybe they think that she's part of the Federation. Maybe they just don't like the chozo. There have been various little nuggety bits going around, and people are trying to piece little bits together and things like that, which is great. But realistically, what we actually know, not a great deal, but that makes it more exciting. It makes it so much more exciting. And then they took things to another level, because we've got this chozo appears. Presumably it's the same one, maybe it's not, but it seems pretty likely that it's the same one. And I am fully prepared to be corrected, maybe in some sort of obscure manga or something, but we see a chozo in chozo power armor for the first time ever. It's the same as Samus's. Samus's is chozo technology. It is power armor. You know, in Zero Mission, she just absorbs power armor, and you know, she gets the like fully powered suit or whatever it's called, and she absorbs that. But that's not designed for her. No, it wasn't designed for her. Chozo technology is mad. It's just kind of like, what are you, human? Okay, we'll do this shape. And presumably, because it's made by the chozo, it does it with the chozo as well, and we know that it's power armor because that chozo has only got a blooming arm cannon, hasn't he? Oh god, it's just... We've only ever seen... What have we seen? What? Maybe Dark Samus and the other hunters have had arm cannons, and yeah, I suppose some of the other bounty hunters in 3 Corruption. Yeah, okay, yeah, they've got arm cannons, but not exactly the bloody same as Samus's. That's what's so exciting. It's so exciting. And in this trailer, we get to see so much. We get to see 2 sides to Samus. Samus, where she's seen something that she understands, Kraid. She knows Kraid. She knows how to defeat Kraid. When she sees Kraid, she's just there, chilling out. She's charging up a charge beam. She's just like, oh, it's this guy again. All right, here we go. But then when, we don't know the Chozo's name, so I'm going to call him Brendan Chozo. Brendan Chozo comes up and Samus tries to shoot him and nothing much is happening. And Brendan Chozo runs up and like, oh, he's charging all, and Samus is like actually quite frightened and accepting at the same time. There's some genuine emotion in there, not the baby. Or it's that space dragon I've killed 17 times, only this time I'm gonna be more frightened. I have been trying to keep my excitement in check, because at the end of the day, I don't want to get my hopes up too high. I don't want to be overhyped and have the game eventually arguably be a disappointment because I get my hopes up too high that it can never be fulfilled. That's the thing that happens. I've done it myself. But Nintendo are making it very, very hard not to get excited about this game. I mean, if you're looking at this and you're thinking that's not my cup of tea, more power to you. You know, find another game. There are plenty out there, I'm sure. Definitely at least 3. That's one of them. But for a long-time Metroid fan like me, my expectations are so high because it's everything I've wanted from the Metroid series. It adds more lore, more character, but without going overboard like it did with Other M. That one of the most irritating things about Other M, and I'm not going to go on about it, but is the fact that it was it added all these elements that we wanted, but in completely the wrong way. I mean, the combat was all right, don't get me wrong, but then having to use the Wii Remote on its side, let's move on. I'm over the moon that Nintendo is not only just bloomin' making this game, but also that they are taking it seriously, and they're releasing these trailers, and they're not, you know, sort of making a huge bravado thing about it. They're just releasing it and going, hey, Metroid Dread, that looks pretty damn cool, doesn't it? Here's a thing you can do. Ooh! There's a dash now! October can't come soon enough, frankly. I've watched that trailer, I think, about 8 times now, just as much as anything, well, partly for this video and also partly just because I bloomin' wanted to. I'm still gonna somehow try and keep my expectations in check, but as I said before, Nintendo were making it really, really hard. They are really selling this game hard, but with it in a very low energy way, as if to sort of say, oh yeah, you know what, we've got a new Metroid coming out, isn't that dandy? And everyone's losing their mind over it. And myself is included in that. And rightly so, I bloody think. But what do you think? Do you think Metroid Dread looks dreadful? No one's made that joke before. Let us know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you aim at that subscribe button and let loose just loads of rockets, and be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye. Nintendo Life here, and I don't know whether you've heard, maybe you've been living under some sort of strange chozo-shaped rock or something. Let's try that again. All I can say is, this is exciting. You're okay, Cobble Wobble, don't worry, it wasn't you.